Book 1, Sky Dream Icy Worm. Chapter 5.2, First Glimpse Through the Gate. Oh, right, junior brother. Didn't you say that you were unclear about how long you could maintain your spiritual detection sharing for? Why don't we experiment to see? This will relate to our future cooperation during battles, as well as let you understand your own ability, and familiarize you with your new skill. Under BB's suggestion, Hao released his spiritual detection sharing once again. A faint golden light flickered out from his eyes, and a three-dimensional image that was 30 meters in radius appeared inside of his and BB's minds. Hao's spiritual detection sharing was flawless, and was able to clearly differentiate any subtle changes within that 30-meter radius. The more BB experienced it, the more astonished he became. This spiritual detection sharing wasn't just an auxiliary detection skill, but was like another brain for him to make decisions with. Every minute detail within a radius of 30 meters had essentially been revealed, and there were absolutely no dead angles. While he was under this skill's effect, it was as if he had countless eyes that were observing the situation from various angles with the highest level of carefulness. The thing that made him even more astonished was that Hao seemed to be extremely relaxed while he had this soul skill activated. He hadn't even shown any traces of exhaustion. While they shared the effects of his spiritual detection sharing, they could even feel some of the changes occurring inside of Tang Ya's body as she merged with her soul ring. Tang Ya's figure seemed to have become even more slender, yet her aura was becoming richer and more powerful at an astonishing speed. There was also a luster that had appeared on her skin, while her chi and blood had become more exuberant. In the blink of an eye, 15 minutes had passed, yet Hao's face had only turned slightly pale. BB inwardly gasped with praise. A spiritual skill that lasted so long, it was already enough to be used in battle. Furthermore, not only could little Hao's spiritual detection sharing be used on the battlefield, it also had many other uses. For example, while they were on a dangerous adventure or hunting soul beasts, this was a rarely seen and extremely practical ability. Finally, after Hao had maintained his skill for almost an hour, he was unable to persevere any longer. His body flashed as he ended his spiritual detection sharing. He felt stabs of pain in his mind, and the strong sense of dizziness nearly caused him to fall down. He hurriedly sat down in a cross-legged position, and immediately started meditating to recover his lost soul force and spiritual power. This wasn't the first time that Hao had experienced bitter pain due to an overdraft of his spiritual power. The feeling of his mind becoming blank was definitely not a comfortable feeling. BB had been quietly observing him the entire time. When he saw that Hao didn't collapse after his exhaustion of power, but rather tiredly sat down in a cross-legged position to meditate instead, a smile couldn't help but appear on his face. He silently nodded his head. Compared to seeing someone's talent, BB preferred to look at someone's temperament. In his mind, this junior brother of his had undoubtedly passed this test. The time needed for someone to absorb a 1,000-year soul ring was considerably long. So BB walked around their surroundings in order to spread out some medicine that could chase away soul beasts. Their luck was actually quite good. Only a few 10-year and 100-year soul beasts appeared as Tang Ya cultivated, but they were all chased away by BB. Furthermore, they didn't encounter any other existences at the level of a 1,000-year soul beast, so the process was more frightening than truly dangerous. Few after exhaling deeply, Tang Ya slowly opened her eyes, causing a radiant light to appear inside of her bright pupils. The energies in her body had all risen by an extremely large amount. Along the path of a soul master's cultivation, the 30th rank was an important threshold. Being able to cross this threshold allowed one to step into the Soul Elder realm. Reaching the Soul Elder realm signified that one was a true expert that had an immeasurable future. Many soul masters who had rather poor talent were unable to break through the bottleneck of the 30th rank, even after using up all of their life's energy. I succeeded. Tang Ya jumped up excitedly. Following the stimulation of her soul force, 2 yellow soul rings and 1 purple soul ring rapidly rose up from her feet. The most eye-catching sight was naturally the 1,000-year soul ring. The bright purple color released an aura filled with grandeur. Tang Ya's strength had already entered a completely different level from this moment on. Bibi smiled as he said, "Xiao Ya, congratulations." Tang Ya let out a cheerful cry as she suddenly pounced on Bibi, giving him a big hug. "Bibi, thank you." Bibi hugged her delicate body, and a slightly doting look appeared within the smile on his face. "Since I've promised to help you achieve your dreams, I'll naturally do just that." As Tang Ya rested in Bibi's embrace, she inadvertently saw a pair of large, astonished eyes looking at her, causing her to suddenly remember that there was another person present. She instantly broke free from Bibi's embrace, and looked at Huo Hao, whose spirit eyes were flickering, with a slightly embarrassed look as she said, "What are you looking at? Haven't you seen love between a teacher and a student before?" Huo Hao answered with an extremely honest tone, "I've never seen it before." When he saw Bibi and Tang Ya hugging each other, an indescribable sense of envy suddenly appeared in his heart. However, he wasn't jealous of them at all. His eldest senior brother and his teacher Xiao Ya were truly well matched with each other. Bibi coughed and said, "All right, since you've already finished absorbing your soul ring, we should quickly leave this place." During the past few years, the number of accidents that have occurred to soul masters entering the Great Stardew Forest have increased. Even the areas around the forest have existences such as 1,000-year soul beasts, so it would be better for us to leave sooner rather than later. Tang Ya nodded her head and said, "Let's go." At this moment, the sky had already dimmed. However, spending the night in the Great Stardew Forest clearly wasn't a good plan, so the three of them ignored their exhaustion as they rapidly ran towards the outside of the forest. Huo Hao, who'd recovered his spiritual power, even activated his spiritual detection sharing again, creating another level of safety for their journey towards the exit of the Great Stardew Forest, so much so that they even managed to evade a 1,000-year soul beast that wouldn't take the initiative to attack. After rapidly hurrying along for 2 hours, they managed to finally return to the brook where they'd eaten the roasted fish. This was already several tens of miles from the Great Stardew Forest, which meant that they were, fundamentally, far away from any danger. Huo Hao was naturally dragged over and made a chef one again, under Tang Ya's fierce request for him to roast more fish. However, he didn't need to catch the fish this time around. Bibi simply stretched his right hand into the water, then violet blue lightning flashed in the water, causing 10 unconscious mackerels to rise to the surface belly up. After that, he used the controlling crane capturing dragon technique to quickly get them to the brookside, allowing them to nearly instantly be able to eat. Tang Ya also took out some food that was stored within her storage soul tool. The three people sat together and ate a sumptuous dinner. Tang Ya was in extremely high spirits, which made her eat even more. After finishing her meal, she directly slept on the large tree beside the bonfire. On the other hand, the person who'd actually obtained the most benefits, Huo Hao, hadn't gone to sleep yet. He resisted the doubled exhaustion caused by his tired body and mind, and asked for Bibi to give him some pointers so that he could begin to cultivate the mysterious heaven technique for the first time. Bibi very much admired Huo Hao's diligence. After taking off his outerwear to cover Tang Ya with, he explained some of the main aspects of the mysterious heaven technique's cultivation to Huo Hao. In addition to that, he helped Huo Hao start meditating. The paths that the mysterious heaven technique passed through during cultivation were much more complicated than Huo Hao's original meditation technique. The number of passageways used by the technique were at least 10 times greater than that of his original technique, so much so that Huo Hao's soul force had never even passed through many of the channels. For the sake of ensuring Huo Hao's safety while cultivating, Bibi sat behind him in a cross-legged position. Bibi's